Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. In the name of Allah, the most gracious and the most merciful. Aibowan, Wanakam, good evening, and Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. May the peace, blessing and mercy of Almighty be upon all of us. I have been privileged to speak on behalf of and representing the Sri Lankan Muslims as a woman residing in Milan, Italy. I would love to thank our fellow religious brothers and sisters who have gathered together with us in order to get our rights back. Indeed, it is important for me to thank the government of Italy for giving us the right to protest and providing us with the necessary protection. The effects of COVID-19 are already painful enough. Everyone is going through different phases of fear. Fear of contracting the virus, spreading it to others, separation and distance from loved ones, fighting for daily survival and suffering to a greater extent. Despite this, the Sri Lankan minorities, our families, our friends and neighbors are going through a traumatic fear, a fear that was never felt before. They are not being able to bury their loved ones, and they are being denied by those in authority, the very people we entrusted to safeguard the rights as citizens of Sri Lanka. It is prohibited in our religion to cremate our brethren, and we are completely against it. Burial is a fundamental right of Muslims living in Sri Lanka and all around the world. This cremation is forced in Sri Lanka against the wishes of the victim's family. And due to this, the bodies are left unclaimed at the morgue to show that they are against the cremation and not having the heart to do such an unbearable circumstance to their loved ones. Human rights activist Shireen Saru says, the community is being forced to abandon their dead relatives in order to protect their beliefs. The minorities, the Muslims and the Christians are left helpless. They are made to abandon their relatives in order to protect their beliefs, and they are in a position where they cannot voice out by themselves. But we promise you, the Sri Lankans all around the world will fight for our people until the rights are granted. Among the Muslim community, there is a feeling of hurt and discrimination, though we have been citizens and many Sinhalese kings have granted positions of power and authority and bestowed titles of honor and dignity upon Sri Lankan native Muslims who have contributed to the nation in many fields for centuries. Since the beginning of the pandemic, there had been a considerable number of deaths in Sri Lanka. Every country in the world, except Sri Lanka, honored the rights of the dead by giving them a burial in line with their religious beliefs. Despite the lack of alleged scientific evidences, the COVID-19 may spread from the dead bodies. Sri Lanka continues to deny the rights of the minorities. The petition titled, "To Bury According to the Fundamental Rights of Minority," submitted was dismissed without due consideration. The situation of the minorities in Sri Lanka right now. The World Health Organization's guidelines permit both cremation and burials of those passed away due to COVID-19, and the burial of the victims posed no danger to public health. And the cremation was made mandated in Sri Lanka, saying the virus could contaminate the underground water. Hannah Singer, the United Nations coordinator in Colombo, wrote in her petition urging the government to review its guidelines as the assumption that people who died of communicable disease should be cremated to spread is not supported by evidence. Along with this, World Health Organization and UN regional groups had written to the government of Sri Lanka urging the victims of COVID-19 are handled with dignity and the religious beliefs and rights are respected. But until now, the Sri Lankan government has not responded regarding this. From the inception of the government of Sri Lanka claims that its decisions presented are by the Health Ministry Technical Committee. Virology Department. In an interview with the Daily Mirror again, he says, there was no virologist in the community. We question how could a committee with no virologist could advise the government on such sensitive and sentimental issue without realizing the consequences. Why wasn't the expertise of the motherland not appointed in the committee and the science? They were not appointed in the committee, and the scientific proof, the truth that was told by themselves were not concerned by the government, which goes along with the guidelines of the World Health Organization. We strongly believe the protests held here today in Milan and those held in the past weeks will strengthen the minorities, will give them the belief, will make them become strong in Sri Lanka and create the pressure needed in the government to revise its guidelines regarding forced cremation. We trust, we plead, we really plead to the President of our country that he will ensure the right to burial as per religious beliefs, a dignified burial of COVID-19 victims are granted without any further hesitation. I really want to thank the Maldivians for giving us the opportunity, for giving us a way, making the government realize that they are there as a Muslim nation to support us. But we say, we are Sri Lankans. We were born there, brought up there, we live there. So we want to be buried as our religious rights, and we urge the government without any further hesitation our rights to be granted. And we strongly say again and again and again, and if this right is not granted in the nearest future, we Sri Lankans all around the world will have no objection in protesting over our country to get our people the rights. Also, I would like to request our Sri Lankans and people all around the world to be safe and also to follow the protocols of World Health Organization. Thank you so much.